Hello and welcome to another episode of Spec Steppin, where we are stepping through the web API spec. In today's episode, we're going to look briefly at the broadcast channel API. And as you can see from the screen, it is available in nearly all browsers. In fact, I think it works in all major browsers now. So if you're using an older browser or your audience uses older browsers, then this may not be the API for you. However, most people I would assume are using modern browsers and have updated to modern browsers. So you can use this. So what is the broadcast channel API? What it allows you to do is communicate between a what we call a browsing context. So, let's say, for example, you have an application and you're opening up a new tab in that application, or a new pop-up window, or an iframe is embedded in your page, something like that, where you have basically, even though it's within the same browser, it's a different context. So when you open up a new tab, you have a different context. So a lot of people will have multiple tabs like I have on my screen, and you will have multiple things open because you might be working on different things at different times, or two different applications at the same time, that sort of thing. So if you're doing that, sometimes in your application, you might have the need to communicate between those. So like, let's say you have an application and you click to open up a new window, and then you're having the user do something in that window. And then once they're done doing that window, they go back to the main window and finishing up some work. The problem historically has been, while that may be a great flow for the end user, the communication between the two instances, the two contexts, have been difficult to do. There have been ways to do it with some frameworks and things like that, and some different workarounds, and some of them were kind of hacky, but it wasn't very easy to communicate between the two. So what the broadcast channel allows us to do is do that communication between the two. So on the MDN site, they have a very good visual here. So basically, we create in the API what's called a broadcast channel, and that gets instantiated. And then there's this post message method function that we can do, where we can send messages to that broadcast channel. So any instance that subscribes basically to that broadcast channel can receive those messages back and forth, basically like a chat sort of thing. Although you can do some things with objects and stuff. And there, although I'm not going to cover today, it does have some cool functionality when it comes to the serialization aspect of sending objects and things back and forth. So that's pretty cool, because sometimes that can be a hoop to jump through. So it's got some code here as far as sending and receiving messages, and you can close a channel out, that sort of thing. That way, once you're done with it, maybe you have them open up a window. There's communication that goes on. Then they close that window. You can then disconnect from that channel because there's no longer a need for that channel, that sort of thing. So, and then here's, as you can see, all the major browsers do it. There's methods and stuff, but let's dive right into the code so we can see what it looks like. So first, let me show you the HTML. The HTML is nothing fancy. So here we have just the text area where we're going to type our message. We have a button we can hit to send the message, and then the messages are going to be shown here in this message div. So let's look at the JavaScript. So here we have, creating on line 3, the channel, the broadcast channel. I'm just calling it channel for lack of a better term. And then this event listener on message is an event that happens in the channel. So when a message gets sent, uh, you can listen to that and you can have something happen. So here, when a message gets sent, what I'm going to do is I'm grabbing that message div and holding it in this message div constant, and then I'm creating a text node out of the event data. You can inspect the event and see what all is available in there, but the data property is what holds the actual message content. And then I'm just doing a break just so it goes to the next line, just so we can send multiple messages. So then I'm just appending those to my message div, just putting them in the div. That's it. Then here, this button. So I'm grabbing that button and grabbing the input box where the message is being typed right here. And then I'm grabbing the value of what they type, which is the message. And that's when I'm calling the post message method and sending my message to it. And then I'm just clearing it out so I can do the next one. So basically, it's like a quasi chat between two tabs that we have set up. So let me jump over here and I'll show you what I have set up. Um, I always like to have my developer tools open just in case an error pops up. So we have these two windows. Now, one thing before I demonstrate this, this is within the same browser context. So again, opening up a new tab, new window, iframe, that sort of thing. But I use Brave, I'm within my Brave browser. So if I were to open up like my Firefox browser to the same local URL, to demonstrate the broadcast API, it's not going to work. A different browser altogether, browser instance. So this does not facilitate communication among different browsers. So like you can't be in Firefox and chatting, or even in, let's say, Brave and chatting. Mine is a different instance, and that's handled by something different, like a Socket.io type of thing. So, but here I am in the first one. So I'm just going to first message, and I'm going to send it. Nothing is here on the screen. But over here on my second tab, I see my first message. So then second message, I send it. Again, I see my first message. And over here, I see second message. Now, you could capture that input value and put it in a message to have a complete communication. I just am not doing that. So third message. And over here, I see third message. So message received. And over here, message received. So there's different ways you could capture that data and put it in like a whole history and that sort of thing, or log it or whatever. So I just wanted to show you this. This is a pretty cool way that you can communicate back and forth. That's a whole lot easier than what it used to be before this API came out. There was a lot of hoops to jump through. You probably had to use some middleware, third-party tools to get it to work from a functionality standpoint, at least work easily. So this is a pretty cool API that you can use for those communications to occur between two browser contexts. If you have any questions, let me know, and happy stepping.